What's up, YouTube? I got a question for you. Can you beat Fallout 4's father? First, we gotta make him. I think that looks pretty good, but I don't think the game agrees because it crashed not only once, but twice. It almost crashed a third time, but luckily it didn't, allowing us to actually start the run. I do want to mention, this is a viewer recommended run. Per his rules, I must use the lab coat alongside the base Institute pistol. Let me say that one more time. The base Institute pistol. To be fair, he was in chat and he gave me a way out, but I must really hate myself because I didn't take the way out. God, what a mistake that was. First, I need some clothes because I'm completely naked. You would think that finding a lab coat in a futuristic world would be easy, but no. Right out of the vault, the only place that has a lab coat without a bunch of shit in front of it is the Cambridge Polymer Lab. They hand you a free lab coat if you get the researcher job, so that's what I did. I got the job, I got my free lab coat, then I bolted before she turned on me. With that sorted, we now need a weapon, and I know the perfect person to use to get that weapon. In case you haven't watched any of my other Fallout 4 videos, it's Dance. He has plot armor, he's a tank, there's a whole list I've made up before, but as always, this place is pretty easy. It's also a gold mine for ammo. I did make the mistake of pressing the button way too early, which got me a measly amount of ammo compared to if I would have waited. That didn't matter though, because the game glitched and didn't spawn the deep range transmitter. Then the game just straight out crashed. So this time I waited considerably longer, which yielded an increase in ammo. I should have waited longer, but I thought 700 plus rounds would have been enough. They weren't, but we'll get there. It decided to spawn this time, which allowed me to finish up with Dance alongside joining the Brotherhood. If I had the option, I wouldn't join any faction. I would get myself into the Institute and not worry about it. There is the Minutemen, which you know, and then there's the Railroad, which they are kill on sight. So the Brotherhood it is. Quick side note, I do want to slide in here before getting into Diamond City. As per the wiki, he has all 4 in stats. Therefore, I'm not going to add any points to his base stats. So these are my only options for skills. I'm not going to mention the skills again, but I do just want to point this out that these are my only options. I can't get any lower tier ones. That would probably help a lot. Now inside Diamond City, it breaks again. We're like 2 minutes into this video. It has broken twice and crashed 3 times. I haven't even met Father yet. 2 fathers in one game, it's just too much for this game. It's like barely working. At any rate, I sold everything I picked up at ArcJack, then I went to Ellie for Nick's location. I get there, but there is one issue. That's not the right gun. I must have sold it at Diamond City, which when I go back, that's exactly what I did. So with that sorted, we can get back to Nick. This is where chat comes into the mix because they bait me into fighting Swan. I had a lot of confidence I could do this. Then I fired the first shot. Confidence, it dropped quite a bit. Then he hit me with this rock. Confidence bounced off the floor before Swan ended me. So it's safe to say next time around, I completely ran by him and got into Park Street Station. There's not much to talk about inside Park Street Station because these guys have very little armor and this gun is pretty good for right now, so I can easily get to Nick. On the way out, I have yet to convince Kenny Malone not to kill us, so we go at it again, he dies, we get back to Diamond City. The usual for these runs. I then get interviewed by Nick before we head off to Kellogg's house. Unlike last time where I was so impatient I ran ahead of Nick twice and got nowhere because of it, I followed him like I was supposed to until we got to Kellogg's house. He couldn't break the door, so he told me about the key. On the flip side though, just like last time, I tried the speech check, which failed. Then I tried bribing him, which also failed. But the secretary did accept the bribe. I have my suspicions that this is put into the game to make sure you get the key, but I can't confirm my suspicions. Anyways, we break into Kellogg's house, we get the cigars, I give them to Dogmeat, and we get to Fort Hagen. It's Fort Hagen. It's pretty easy. The only thing to note here is unlike every other video, I can't just nuke him. I actually have to fight this man. Typically, this gun isn't an issue. Because Kellogg is invisible, combined with the fact that this gun blinds you when you fire it, and has a ton of recoil, I would constantly lose him after every 5 or 6 shots. After 2 minutes of playing hide and seek with Kellogg, his last stealth boy runs out, allowing me to put him down. He hands over his brain and his entire inventory, which I can't use, but will come in handy for later. While we're inside Kellogg's brain, I do want to thank today's sponsor, you guys. Thank you for everyone watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. It's been amazing. I do want to give a special thanks to our first ever channel member, Half-Bit Gaming. If you'd like to support the channel and get some cool perks at the same time, hit the join button down below. Also, I now have a Discord and stream every Saturday at 1. Now, back to the video. As I've mentioned before, I never used a character creator. I usually just leave it on default and don't give a shit about it. So when I got to the kid, this was a hell of a surprise. I didn't know this happened, but apparently if you change the dad's hair color, it changes on him too, which makes sense, unless it's gray. But let's not look too deep into it. Up next is the glowing sea. We're raw dogging this bitch because I have nothing to protect me except some Rad-X and a fucking prayer. Luckily, we don't have to take any detours, so we can head straight to Virgil's cave. I get inside before becoming an afternoon snack for the Deathclaw, then get set off to Green Tech for the Corsair chip. Normally, I would just run past all of them, but because I have such little armor, I can't do that this time. I'm getting completely obliterated by one or two of them, let alone the rocket guy combined with turrets. So I had to systematically eliminate all of them until I can get to the Corsair. Because the Corsair is just a shittier Kellogg, we had the same issues we had before that I would constantly lose him only after a couple shots. But because he is a shittier Kellogg, it only took about a minute before I put him down. Now with the Corsair chip in hand, we need to decode it. The Rearward are a kill on sight for what I think is obvious reasons. I easily assassinate Desdemona and Deacon, but Gloria tears me apart with her minigun. So next time around, I focus my attention on Gloria, and thanks to the dumbass AI, she barely does any damage to me. With her out the way, the rest of them are a piece of cake. I decode the chip, then head back to Virgil. He hands over the teleporter plans, but like I mentioned earlier, I have to side with the faction to actually get this built. I already have a relationship with the Brotherhood, so I'm gonna go with them. The Brotherhood probably wasn't the best option because of two words: Forge Strong. Usually by this point, I either have access to power armor or I can use the minigun on the vertebrate to take down all the enemies outside. Because I am father, I can't use either. I also can't use the vertebrate for protection from the super mutant behemoth, or as chat dubbed him, Nikocado Avocado. On top of all that, I did this pretty late into the game compared to when I normally do it, usually right after they show up. This resulted in much stronger enemies, not to mention the legendary super mutants, which... oh boy, what a fucking issue they were. The second I walked into Fort Hagen, they all came out like it was an old Western movie. I was not waiting for them to make the first move, so I took the first shot. This shit went from 1814 and 1914 real quick. I was surrounded on all sides. My best cover was this car. Anything that moved, I was shooting. The legendary super mutant was such a pain in the ass. Not only was he destroying my health, but he mutated along the way, which restocked his health. After sticking myself with so much morphine, I couldn't feel the 1,000 holes in me. I was able to vaporize him and finish off the rest of his guys. I thought I had gotten lucky, and the game glitched and didn't spawn the behemoth. I was very fucking wrong. I did get extremely lucky because the AI got stuck on these trees, which allowed me to pepper him until he went down. We're done with the outside, however, it does not get any better. Once we get inside, I only have 53 shots to clear out the first floor. I thought I had nailed it, except we're off by one guy. So I have to go back to the Bridwin. Let me tell you, this ammo, oh boy, not cheap. Even with Cap Collector, it's almost $1,000 for only 121 shots. Not great, but I can work with that. So I went back into the main building, finished off the last guy, then went to the basement. Again, because I decided to do this so late into the game, I had to deal with another fucking legendary super mutant. Not to mention this guy with the fucking rockets. So it's safe to say I got put down quite a bit. Then in the middle of the fight with the legendary super mutant, the footage cuts. It didn't crash, no. I maxed out my hard drive because I forgot to remove the prototype rifle run and the activate Windows run. The activate Windows run also had the proxy in it, which is like 260 gigs, so that definitely didn't help. But after I deleted one of them, I started the game back up. However, I was not in a good position. I have 0 ammo alongside still having to deal with a legendary super mutant. Did try gun bashing. Yeah, no. This isn't the prototype rifle run. This is not gonna happen. So we're going back to the Prydwen to restock. It was at this point I realized he had yet to restock, so Diamond City it is. Back to Fort Hagen, I have 151 shots to take both of them out. The Mutant Hound went down in about 5 shots. However, the legendary super mutant fucking mutated for a second time. I had to back up for a second to heal, but I kept peppering him until he eventually went down. Then on the way out, I find this brick. Dude, where the fuck were you 20 minutes ago? You know how much help you would have been? God damn, I'm so glad I'm about to betray your fucking entire organization, but fuck you. Anyways, with that shit show over, we can go and build the teleporter. Luckily, I have all the materials I need, so we don't have to go out and scavenge. I was only waiting on Maxon to give me a useless mission I wasn't going to do, but once he shows up, he gives me the mission, then I get shut off to the Institute. Now inside the Institute, I gotta say, I did a pretty good job making Father. Look at Father. Now look at Father. Now look at Father again. I just look like an older version of Father, which makes sense. I am his father. I do want to preface this by saying I didn't think this would work, but I had to try. Father has an item called Father's Lab Coat, which would complete me. So I tried to see if I could stealth kill him and get away with it. No. Simple answer, hell no. The second I shot him, everybody was pissed off. So I had to reload because I do plan to side with the Institute. Also, he's the main quest giver for all the Institute quests. So this idea was flawed from the very beginning. The Institute does sell an item called the Institute Lab Coat. That I spent 5 minutes pissing off chat because I couldn't find the shop. It's incredible the amount of times I have played this game and didn't know this existed. That being said, I bought the Institute Lab Coat. One thing though, this thing is fucking ugly. At some point, I did find a black version that looks a little bit better, but it's still ugly as fuck. So I decided to switch back to the original. Looks better, it's lighter, with the exact same stats. Now, let's get on with the story. I met with the heads of the Institute, didn't expect to finish the first quest, but I did. So here's the thing. You have to steal from the Institute to complete the first Institute quest. Even if you plan to work with them from the very fucking beginning, you don't have a choice. So I go ahead, use the network scanner, which completes the mission, allowing us to actually begin the Institute questline, starting off with Libertaria. I only remember doing this mission when I did the prototype rifle run. I didn't know the Courser could be in a different location, so when he wasn't at the fishing shack, I just started making my way to the top. After dodging a nuke by mere inches, I realized I wasn't actually doing the mission, so I followed the waypoint, and lo and behold, there's the Courser. I went through Libertaria like I was supposed to, but when I got to the very top, I was running very low on ammo, so I decided to pop over to the shop before returning. Fun fact, did you know you could just swim around the entire place avoiding all the enemies, including the guy with the fat man? Yeah, so when I got to the very top, me and the Corsa had a little chat. He recommended I use the recall code, which was a plan. I did fuck up that plan because I was spamming through the dialogue, but I reloaded, used the recall code, then threw myself off the boat to teleport away. Up next is Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill was weird. I expected the Railroad to hate me because I did execute their entire leadership. I was not expecting the Brotherhood not to hate me because in my mind, I had already betrayed them. But technically, that is not the case yet. So, I took advantage of the moment, letting them kill each other, which allowed me to loot all their ammo and equipment to sell later for more ammo. Once I got down to the bottom, I did one of the most fucked up things I've ever done in a video game. This man was just trying to get his freedom, offering me the little bit of money he had. So, I took his money, then shattered his dreams when I used the recall code on him. One of the most fucked up things I've done, but fuck it, I'm Father. After cementing my place in hell, it's time to navigate the CIT ruins. Every time I've done this, it has taken me 10 plus minutes to get up to Father. Since my last video, I have gotten tips on how to get up to them, but that requires power armor, so I can't show it off yet. Then comes in the chat. These motherfuckers just say turn right and go up the stairs. And god damn it, they're fucking right. Live me, lost my shit. Oh, but okay, hold on. It's that simple! Oh my god, I've spent so much time with that. I pulled my headphones out. It's that simple! Fuck! After Father teleported away, I knew Mass Fusion was coming up, so I made the rounds collecting as much ammo as possible before teleporting in. Sadly, because I can't use power armor, I can't just throw myself off the building. That elevator ride down was rough. We're at the point that a lab coat and a base Institute pistol is not cutting it. So I am taking significant damage from the Brotherhood's energy weapons, not to mention this elevator has zero fucking cover. Then something blows up which stops the elevator. Fixing it wasn't too bad. I got lost a couple times, but I found my way around and got it back on. The reason I'm mentioning this part is because of these cunts. Oh my god, the fucking amount of damage they're doing. Look at my health bar. Just look at it. One more shot, I'm fucking dead. Luckily, by the skin of my teeth, I reactivated the elevator and got down to the basement. But holy shit, this is becoming an issue. Now that we're in the basement, this is the first ever time I've gone in here without protection. Oh boy, let me tell you, you need some fucking protection. Even with Rad-X, right next to the core, that shit is at plus 89 rads per second. I grab that bitch and run for it. I get there with barely an inch of my health left, but we're out. The sentry bot was actually pretty easy. I would just hide in this room, pop out, shoot him a bit, then hide again until he eventually blew himself up. I tried the same strategy with the Assaultrons, which was a really fucking bad idea because the Assaultrons can get into this room, which resulted in me getting cornered and eliminated pretty quickly. Next time around, I somewhat learned my lesson, only getting myself trapped in a place that I could get myself out of compared to a dead end. I was able to neutralize both Assaultrons before facing Steve. Steve went down like a bag of bricks. Usually this is where we just leave, but chat had a great suggestion. I should finish off the rest of the Brotherhood, then collect their ammo because I'm definitely going to need all the ammo I can get for the end of the game. Quick side note, shooting the Brotherhood Knights in the Fusion Core works really well, especially if they're all bunched up together. After collecting the spoils, I teleport myself back to the Institute, handing over the Beryllium Agitator to Allie. Because I am father, chat allowed me one companion. The worst companion, but it is an extra gun. It took me way too fucking long to find him, but we eventually did find him. There was a bit of a tangent with some gorillas, and some people didn't want to come out, and then getting dismembered by the gorillas, but if you weren't there, you weren't there. Up next is two completely pointless missions, so we're going to skip both of them. With the reactor activated, we only have 2 missions to go. Scratch that, we have 1 mission to go because we already dealt with the railroad. So, do you remember how bad it was dealing with the Brotherhood at Mass Fusion? Oh, you don't know what's coming. I think my first attempt should give you a good idea of how bad this is going to go. Now, as you just saw, if I go in there without a stealth boy, I'm going to get ripped apart immediately. So I activate one, but I don't really know where the fuck I'm going. So I get in there, but it runs out before I can actually take out any generators. I'm panicking at this point, but I do find this little hidey hole between these 2 containers. I do quickly realize that I'm safe for about a minute before the Brotherhood rush me. So instead of waiting to get killed, I run out there, destroy the first generator, which starts bringing in some distractions. Now that the distractions are here, I can go ahead and disable the remaining 2 generators before we go infect Prime. First of all, even to get in there, I need to use another stealth boy because this guy is definitely not going to let me in there if he sees me. After getting past them, we have 2 major issues, both of them in power armor. Issue number 1 was Ingram. Holy shit, I did not realize how fucking tough she was. If she saw me before half her health was gone, it was already too late. She would rinse me. The only time I was actually able to take her out was when I snuck up on her. I was hoping to make her a bomb by shooting the fusion core, but that didn't work. Then came the Brotherhood Knights. They were just as tough as Ingram, but I didn't have the advantage of sneaking up on them like I did Ingram. I was able to take one of them out, but then his brother came in and finished a job he couldn't do. Guess who forgot to save after he killed Ingram? Then had to kill Ingram again with backup this time, so that was fun to deal with. Definitely remember to save this time, which was a great decision because not even a minute later, the game crashed. Then when I loaded the game back in, it did this. This is not OBS. I didn't accidentally move the source. No, the game just decided to do this. I have no idea. But I force killed the game. Then when I loaded it back in, it got way worse. It did this on another monitor that wasn't even recording. This is a recreation of what I saw. No fucking clue, but this game is not holding it together. Anyways, I killed it again, loaded it back in, and everything seems to be okay. I only had to take out one Brotherhood Knight, then just defend the synth from the plebs not wearing any power armor. That said, they still killed me, but I was saving every 25%, so I was not losing a ton of progress. The second it ticked over to 75, Maxon lit my ass up with his Gatling laser. I don't think he could have dropped any worse position for me, because I can no longer protect the synth. I don't know what the deal was, but for some reason, he didn't shoot the synth. Maybe it was the angle, perhaps I distracted him, but either way, the synth was able to finish hacking Prime. As I was running away, I remembered to somewhat get the shot, and ladies and gentlemen, this is why you don't fuck with helium. We got teleported away to a safe distance, then one final chat with Father, and that's the end of the game. If you don't want to hear my final thoughts and just want to see me suffer through another run, I would recommend this video here. For my final thoughts, can you beat Fallout 4's Father? Yes. And it's actually one of the more enjoyable runs I've done. Live streaming definitely helped a lot with that, but having a difficulty curve that's actually a curve, I think also definitely helped. Wouldn't recommend siding with the Institute, but that's kind of the only faction that makes sense for this. Would I recommend doing this? Yeah, why not? Give it a shot. Let me know how it goes. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out. If you have any other challenge recommendations for me, please let me know down below. I also now have a Discord server and live stream every Saturday at 1. With all that being said, thank you for watching. watching. I will see you next time.